Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Today, we're going to be taking a look at a clip of yet another person complaining that they had to buy a second seat on a Southwest flight when they couldn't fit into one. I knew we would be hearing a lot more of these stories since Southwest changed their policy, and it looks like I was right. This seems to be becoming a series. We're also going to be taking a look at a bonus clip from this same creator where she says she might sue Southwest for discrimination, so be sure to stick around until the end. Before we proceed, please click the like button so that I may apply comb to mustache.
I had the most awkward conversation of my entire life, and it took everything in me to not cry. I do want to start off by saying that the guy who talked to me was super sweet and super kind. And he said multiple times, like, he hated that he was having this conversation with me. I got pulled aside. I'm flying right now for work for San Diego.
Okay, is that why you're being so quiet? You're currently on the plane? Although it looks like she's in a bathroom.
And I'm sitting at a chair, waiting at the gate. And mind you, this is my connecting flight, so I've already flown once through Southwest to get here. And he pulls me aside and he goes, "It's been flagged for me that you might be a customer of size."
For me. Alright, he said you were flagged as a customer of size. You said you've already gone through one leg of your flight, so maybe during that flight the person that was sitting next to you complained, and that's why we're going through this now?
And he's like, "Let me tell you what the policy is." I'm like, okay. And I knew that they changed their policy of you can't sit wherever you want. He goes, "So technically you're supposed to buy 2 seats." And I go, "Well, I'm not doing that."
He's like, "That's why I don't like doing this particular job." Because you're just going to laugh at me and say I don't need a second seat.
I'm not spending $500 more. I got here, I was sitting next to someone. I've never, ever been told.
I know that we don't want to spend an additional $500, but if we're spilling into the seat next to us, that's going to make the person next to us uncomfortable. I know it's embarrassing and we don't want to hear it or spend the extra money, but if we can't fit into our own seat, what is the airline to do?
Ever on any airline. 1, I've never had a conversation about my weight. 2, I've never been asked to buy another seat.
Okay, well, you were asked to buy one now. This reminds me of the story a couple days ago where the guy was shocked because he's never needed an extra seat before, but apparently he needs one now. Maybe you did not need an extra seat previously, but now we do. Bodies change and stuff. My body's going through so many changes.
And he's like, "Well, He's like, I don't think it's gonna be an issue, but we moved you." And I was like, okay, that's fine. I'm fine with sitting somewhere else, but I'm not buying another flight or another seat. And I was like, "So should I never fly Southwest again?" Because I've never been approached.
All right, so you're threatening to never fly Southwest again because they want you to buy a second seat because you didn't fit into one. Don't you think other airlines would also do the same thing? You're like, "Darn it, Southwest, I'm going to go to a different airline where they don't make me pay for the seats that I spill into." I'm pretty sure all airlines would do that. Also, it's funny to tell some random employee that you're never going to fly Southwest again. Like they care, Like the person who works the customer service desk at Southwest cares if you fly with Southwest ever again. It's just some random employee. If you told some random employee at JCPenney that was stocking the clothes, "I'm never shopping here again," they would probably be thinking, "Good, because you have a bad attitude and that's one less person that I have to deal with. I actually get paid hourly. I don't care if nobody ever comes in here again. In fact, I would prefer it."
We are having a conversation about my weight right now. With a complete... Sorry, the toilet just went off.
Sorry, the toilet just went off. Okay, so we are in the airport bathroom.
I'm in the bathroom because I'm just I literally left. And I think you could tell I was getting choked up.
Okay, so this literally just happened, and she's in the airport bathroom venting about it. I do some of my best venting in airport bathrooms.
And he's like, "You're a beautiful, nice woman." I'm like, I literally don't.
He said, "You're a beautiful, nice woman." Okay. Then why are you making me buy an extra seat? You should have said, "Well, why don't you buy me an extra seat then, sir, if I'm so beautiful?" That's what you should have said.
We're having a conversation about my weight. Like, moments like this make me want to crawl under a rock and live there forever.
Oh yeah, definitely embarrassing. But could this negative experience motivate us to make positive changes in our lives?
I've already lost 100 pounds. And this.
Great job, by the way. That's really awesome. That's an inspirational amount of weight. That's interesting that this hasn't happened before when you used to be larger and you're actually losing weight. Either way, I wouldn't be too discouraged. This would just motivate me to keep on keeping on with my weight loss journey, you know?
It's happening. And I mean, it's motivation to keep going. But like, even after losing 100 pounds, I'm not immune to this. Shit like this still happens.
Okay, so she said she's lost 100 pounds, and Southwest still wants her to buy an extra seat. I don't understand how she said previously she never had to buy an extra seat before when she actually used to weigh more.
Okay, so that happened on Tuesday, and now it's the weekend, Saturday. I've gone on my work trip, and I'm back already.
We finally got out of that airport bathroom. That's good.
And I recorded those videos right after I had that conversation with the supervisor at Southwest. And I was able to really sit on it and think about that whole interaction. And I feel like when I made that video, it was like my immediate raw reactions. And now, having a few days passed,
You've calmed down?
I'm more just like...
Or did you get more enraged?
Mad.
The latter. I've had a few days to think about this whole situation and cool off a little bit, and in fact, I'm more enraged than ever. How dare they? Okay?
And appalled and disappointed.
But if we don't fit into one seat, what are they supposed to do? I understand being embarrassed by the situation, but what about the people around us? What about our fellow passengers? Surely we don't want them to be uncomfortable just to spare us the embarrassment of buying a second seat.
Because, in my personal opinion, I think discriminating against fat people is the only thing that is socially acceptable still in terms of discrimination.
You think it's discrimination for you to buy a seat that you were occupying? What?
Because there is no scale in terms of what qualifies someone needing to buy an extra seat.
I'm sure it's not really that complicated. The armrests come down like this. If any part of you is going outside of those armrests, underneath them, or above them, unless it's your arms, then you're gonna have to buy a second seat because parts of you are spilling into a second seat. So it wouldn't be fair to other passengers. It's really awesome that you've lost 100 pounds so far and you're on this weight loss journey, but that makes it all the more confusing why you're getting upset about this.
It's literally an employee at Southwest looking you up and down.
Well, you said you went on one leg of the flight, and then after that, a Southwest employee came to you and said you would need to buy a second seat. So I would imagine somebody you were sitting next to on that first flight probably complained.
And they said, like, you know, you need to be able to sit in your seat, put the armrest down, and not spill over into the next seat. I can put the armrest down. I do encroach on the other person, though. I do.
Thank you so... What are we doing there? Then why are we complaining that they made us buy a second seat? She's like, I can put the armrest down. I do encroach on the seat next to me a little bit, you know, of course, but... Okay, then there you go. Mystery solved. That takes care of that. See you guys later. Good thing Detective Cynical is on the case. I got to the bottom of it. That was a hard case to crack, dude. Like...
But there, you know, after that conversation, I really started to look around to see who else was on this plane. Like, what does everyone else look like?
What does that have to do with anything? You said that you do encroach on the seat. Now you're trying to look around and see if others do too? Like, can we just accept that we're not fitting into one seat and pay for the second seat?
And I was not the only large person, but I was the only person approached.
You don't know if they approached anybody else or what they said to anybody else. I don't know why we're looking around when they told us that we don't fit into our seat. A lot of people do that. Like, when they get called out on their stuff, they start looking around and trying to deflect and blame on other people as well. Well, what about Bethany? She also blah, blah, blah. Like, dude, can we just focus? I said that you were doing this thing that you shouldn't be doing. Why are you trying to deflect and say that all these other people are doing X, Y, Z as well? People that do that are insanely childish. That's like one of the most immature things that you can do. You can't be held liable for anything ever. You always got to deflect and be like, but what about Jeff? But what about what Frank did? Like, this ain't about Jeff or Frank. This is about you. This ain't about Bethany. We'll get to her later. We all hate Bethany and she will be dealt with. But this is about you. Frickin' Bethany.
And it makes me wonder why that is. You know, there was an elderly man who also needed a seatbelt extender and couldn't get up to let the person in the middle sit next to him because he was handicapped. Now, do I think that he should have to pay for another ticket? Absolutely not.
Well, if he doesn't fit into his own seat, then absolutely yes.
But if they think I need to buy an extra ticket, why doesn't he? You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing.
Oh, so you just said a moment ago that he shouldn't have to buy an extra ticket, but now you're saying he should. How come not him, but me? You said he was all old and whatnot. Now you're like, he should also have to buy an extra ticket.
The thing that I don't understand with this policy is that there's no rhyme or reason for how they single people out and how they demand to buy a ticket.
Well, you don't really know what they said to the other passengers and whether or not they were told to buy an extra ticket either. They didn't tell you that you would need an extra seat on the first leg of your flight, so maybe all those other people that aren't fitting into one seat, this is the first leg of their flight, and when they get to their next stop, they're going to be told to buy an extra seat too. Maybe. Or maybe they don't spill into a second seat. We don't really know.
And he explained the rules to me, or I guess the new policy, and it literally, not to be dramatic, but feels like a witch hunt against fat people, which is so crazy because I fly Southwest.
It feels like a witch hunt against fat people to make me buy a seat that I spilled into. Okay.
All the time. They're my preferred airline, and I fly often. I would say roughly about once a month, sometimes more, sometimes less.
Well, you said that you've lost 100 pounds, and you also said that this is the first time this has happened to you. So were you just getting a free extra seat from Southwest in the past because of their customer of size policy? Because you said you were bigger before. So this must not be the first time that this is happening, but perhaps this is the first time that they're making you pay for that extra seat.
And I flew with them because I thought that they were super inclusive and it made me feel comfortable flying. And I mean, they're just going from one extreme to the other.
No, they didn't. They'll still reimburse you for that extra seat. If the flight is not full and there's an empty seat in your same fare class, they will literally reimburse you for that seat. That's still pretty dope, dude. I wouldn't reimburse anybody if I owned a business. I wouldn't give anybody anything for free ever. I need to make money, baby. I'm hungry. I'm hungry and I'm tired. God damn it.
And it just doesn't make sense to me. Besides it feeling like a money grab. Like when I was talking to the supervisor, he said that they refurbished their seats. So they're even smaller than they ever have been before.
Is that serious? Dude. Oh man, now you're playing games, Southwest. What? Is that real? Hold on, god damn it, making me look shit up. According to a quick Google search, yes, based on reports from early 2024, Southwest Airlines began introducing new, thinner seats on newly delivered aircraft that are described as more narrow, approximately 17.5 inches wide, partly due to smaller armrests. While designed to add modern features like in-seat power, some passengers have described the new, thinner seats as less comfortable. Okay, so they did make them smaller, but that was back in 2024, 2 years ago. I believe they just recently got rid of the customer of size policy, but the timing of this is very interesting, Southwest. First, we make the seats smaller. Then, we tell everyone that they have to buy a second seat if they don't fit into one. A couple years from now, the seats are going to be like 10 inches wide, and they're still going to have this policy. Everybody's going to be buying 2 seats. I see where you're going with this, Southwest. You can't fool me.
So it just feels like a money grab in terms of the part of the policy is they want people of size, is their term, people of size
I love that term.
to purchase an extra ticket when they are checking out. So they want you to buy 2 tickets. And if the seat next to you happens to be empty, then they will refund you.
Not true. If a seat in your same fare class happens to be empty, they will refund you. It doesn't have to be right next to you.
But the part that I don't understand, which is like crazy, is like what he was saying is it has to be the seat next to you open. So if someone
Okay, I think he's confused.
happens to want to buy a seat next to you and it's not open, they will charge you for that because technically they're saying they could have sold that seat. So even if there's an open seat in the front or in the back, but it's not the one right next to you, you still will have to pay for it and you won't be refunded.
Well, it has to be in your same fare class, which I guess means that Southwest has different fare classes now. I think it all used to be the same. Back in the day, there wasn't even assigned seating. You would just go and sit wherever was open. I've flown on Southwest before many, many, many years ago.
Needless to say, I will never be flying Southwest again.
Okay, but I don't think any other airlines are going to be as accommodating as Southwest. Still, they will still reimburse you for that extra seat. If there's an empty seat within your fare class, I doubt any other airlines would do that. I wouldn't reimburse anyone for anything if I owned a business. I wouldn't even do refunds if it was my own negligence. Oh, you bought that product from me and it broke immediately? You shouldn't have bought it from me, dummy. But, you know, I'm a ruthless businessman. Dummy, you shouldn't have bought it then. No refunds.
It was extremely embarrassing. I felt belittled, and the thing that, like, don't get me wrong, I know I am a big person. I know it. But I don't agree with the fact that I was the only one singled out. And 2,
well, you don't really know if they spoke to those other passengers or not. Also, are you going to consider the perspective of somebody that might be sitting next to you? You don't care about putting somebody else out at all or encroaching on their personal space, like literally being on them? You don't care about that at all. Personally, I do not like strangers being all up on me.
I've lost 100 pounds. You know what I mean? Like, that's the part that really stung. Is I've never had this happen at my heaviest, 100 pounds heavier.
Okay, well that has to make you wonder then, right? If they say you're spilling into a seat at this size, when you were 100 pounds heavier, do you think that you were not? Okay, so it sounds like they were just giving you a free seat back in the day.
And I literally just hit 100 pounds. I've lost 101.5 pounds. And then that happens to me.
Okay, so how much were you encroaching on the other seats before? And then Southwest just said nothing about it and just gave you a free extra seat. Are we not thinking about that at all?
Needless to say, I'm disappointed in how everything was handled. And I'm going to be avoiding Southwest in the future.
Good luck finding another airline that will reimburse you for any seat that you use ever.
Oh, and for context, this is what I looked like flying that day. I'll include a video.
Okay. I don't know why we're so upset with Southwest for making us buy the second seat that we were spilling into. You said yourself that you encroach on your neighboring seat. If they never made you buy a second seat in the past and you used to weigh 100 pounds more, that just proves they were giving you that free extra seat and never mentioning it. You might still get reimbursed for that extra seat if there's an empty seat in your same fare class. I don't think any other airlines are going to do that, so Southwest likely still has the best policy. I don't know why we would get caught up on who else they're enforcing this policy on. You don't know if they've talked to those other passengers on the plane or not. You're just assuming that they didn't. airplanes, and they're not going to have to buy an extra seat. I feel bad for the Southwest employees. These are very uncomfortable conversations that nobody wants to be having. By the way, ma'am, you're gonna have to buy an extra seat. And then they start yelling at you and acting like you're a jerk and all this type of stuff when you're just doing your job. The fact that she said this was discrimination is especially confusing since she's actively losing weight. You know, you're already working on this issue, or what you perceive to be an issue. Next. All right, now she's going to be responding to this comment that reads, "This is discrimination. Time to sue, ladies."
Okay, so the curiosity is killing me, and there's like a million comments just like this one. But someone who has like a law background, who's a lawyer, can you weigh in for me and let me know, like, can we sue?
For me. I'm not a lawyer, but no, you cannot. Nah, you can't sue a company for making you pay for the things that you use. I went to the store and took 2 sodas off the shelf, and they charged me for 2 sodas? What the heck? You're always supposed to charge me for what? Yeah, see, that doesn't work.
Like, is there an actual chance? I would like to know others' opinion, who actually know more than I do about this subject.
Okay, well, I'm not a lawyer, so don't take this as legal advice, but there's a 0% chance that you can sue Southwest. They have specific language to describe what happens when this situation occurs. If you cannot fit into your own seat and you encroach on the seat next to you, you will have to buy a second seat, and if there are empty seats in your same fare class, you will be reimbursed. That's their policy. You agreed to it when you bought a ticket. Any other airline is not going to have any sort of reimbursement policy, so maybe you should go try to sue them. Perhaps we don't like that Southwest's new policy is not as accommodating as their previous policy, but it's still far more accommodating than many other airlines. I don't think there's any airline that will reimburse you for using a second seat, regardless whether there are other empty seats on the plane or not. I wasn't kidding when I was saying that we were going to have several more stories like this. I actually have more ready to go. I've been getting sent a lot of these stories, so we're gonna have even more of these moving forward. So we had a lot of interesting clips in today's video, but what do you think? Is it ridiculous that she had to buy an extra seat on the airplane when she couldn't fit into one? And do you think this is discrimination and grounds to sue? Leave a comment below. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Anyway, that about does it. Thanks for watching, commenting, liking, and subscribing. And I'll see you in the next one.